realized that early on in life. And so in public school, high school, I knew that I had to do everything I could to prepare myself. And so, and of course, there are kids there who are much smarter than I, but I made a determination at that age that, hey, no one's going to outwork me. They may be smarter than I am, but no one's going to outwork me. So started on the education path and ended up in school, it seems, all my life. But I was very fortunate. I spent a couple of years in the military during the Vietnam War, blessed to come out of that and was able to use a GI Bill to help me with my education. Once I got on the road towards success, I didn't look back. I just worked extremely hard, and I earned scholarships and fellowships, and graduated out of grad school with my doctorate with had no debt. And I listen to kids today, they graduate, they're in deep debt. And so I was just really blessed. But it really does require hard work. It really does. It does require hard work.
It's a level of commitment. It's a real job, really.
It's a real job.
If you
Absolutely.
If you take advantage of the wholeness of the opportunity, it's a real job. And to not do so really is a disservice to yourself and to the opportunity.
Yeah. So you're right.
So how do you convey that to kids? Because I mean, the two schools of thought going on, right? One is, it really doesn't make economic sense for me to leave college, a 4-year accredited institution, assuming I get my degree, with $120,000, $150,000 worth of debt. So the return on that is a struggle when you look at trades such as welding and electricians, plumbers. There are more millionaires in the trades than there are, in the positions that you think are affluent.
Absolutely.
So it's a very viable path, and I think it's one that's getting a whole nother sort of recognition.
Right.
But there's a certain advantage to that liberal arts degree and an accredited institution. And then there's how do I even make the decision to go pursue something? So how are you convincing folks, or getting folks in position that that's what they want to do? How do you incentivize or motivate folks to get there? Because a lot of my life is based on my perspective is based on my experience. So how do you get there?
So, I work with kids up and down the spectrum from first grade all the way up to college. And I actually have a number of college students that I work with, as well. And my advice to them, to even the little kids, you don't have to have everything you want. You don't have to have that game that costs $100 or a pair of tennis shoes that costs $200. You don't have to have it right now.
Right.
You do have to have shoes, but you don't have to have the absolute most expensive shoes out there.
But the Air Jordans, when I was coming along, I have no idea what the new hot shoe is now. But
I have no idea either.
But I'm sure they're expensive.
I'm sure they are. I have 2 boys, and I can tell you, I remember them asking for really expensive stuff, and I remember saying, hey, let's work together on that, you know? If you earn your portion of it, I'll see about doing the other piece.
Well, that's what it looked like in my house.
Yes.
I'll meet you maybe halfway, but you've got to show some real sincerity and provide equity in the project.
Absolutely.
Just to get, it's not going to happen.
No.
But anyway, I'm sorry, I stopped.
No. I think that's one of the things. That's one of the mistakes that parents make is giving kids what they ask for and not being willing to deal with the attitudes of young folks, because they get angry and they want what they want when they want it. So one of the things we do as well is work with parents on how to engage your children in wholesome conversation, that it's okay for them to get angry, it's okay for them to not accept your answer, but then you need to come together and help them to understand why you're not going to give them $100 or $200 for whatever they want.
Right.
I think the most important thing that I do with kids is helping them to understand reality, helping them to understand that your mom and dad are working. And in some cases, mom and dad are not working. And the kids still expect those things.
Right.
But helping them to understand what a budget looks like, helping them to understand that every month your parents have to pay the rent, the utilities, a car payment, clothing, food. Where's that money coming from?
Right.
And helping them to understand that whole picture of survival and what does it mean to be a parent? What does it mean to be even a single person and having to live on your own? It's not as simple as going to the bank and writing a check. I will never forget my youngest son wanted something one time, and I said, "No, we don't have the money to do that." He said, "Just write a check."
Right. I think we've all thought that at some point in our life, right? Just write a check. The problem is it's actually got to be backed by something in the account.
Got to be backed by something, yeah. Which is a lesson within itself. Is helping these kids understand that, here's how it works. Here's the whole picture of paint a financial picture for them, taking them through the whole financial literacy piece, so they understand that money doesn't grow on trees. You really have to earn it.
Right.
And
that $10 an hour is not $10 an hour when you get it. It looks something like $8.75 or whatever it is, but it's a lot less than the 10 hours. It's $10.
Exactly. and helping young folks to not look. It's okay to look at someone who is successful.
Sure.
But you also have to look at how they got there.
That I think
How
is the
did they
key.
get there?
Right.
And so, young kids especially, and college kids will look at me and say, "Okay, I want to, be successful like you when you grow up." I said, "But, what does that look like?" I said, "I wasn't born with a degree. I wasn't born with a tie on."
None of us were, right?
No, none of us were. I said, I had to work my way towards those things. But, what's important to me right now is not the tie or the car and those things, but it's helping you succeed, helping you grow up and understand what it means to be a contributing citizen to your community, to the state, to the nation. It's not about you all the time. It's about what contributions are you making to society. And try to cultivate that thinking towards being a useful, helpful citizen, and not just what can I get out of all this.
Right.
And but I give. I am a giver. I do to a fault. I know I've done a lot of speeches. I take my kids with me sometimes. Not now because they're all grown and gone.
Right.
And they would give me an honorarium or something, and I would give it back. Mm-hmm. And they would sit there, "What are you doing?" "You could have given it to me." I said, "No, I couldn't have." So helping them to understand.
Well, don't you think that comes down to a little bit of how you're measuring the internal rate of return? So I can either take the dollar or I can give the dollar something else.
Right.
And return is not necessarily measured in financial
That is right.
terms,
That is
right?
correct.
A return can be impact, societal impact.
That's
It can
correct.
be, the fact that you've touched so many people through doing that. And that's in and of itself a great gift, to even have that, ability to see that far, right?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's being able to see how can I make a difference in the lives of so many people, which, just want to share one. I mean, I do work with young kids, and
Right.
I'm constantly looking for ways I can help them. And one of the things I recognize is that a lot of our kids, especially the kids who don't have the resources in their communities,
Right.
are not taking advantage of the STEM programs that are offered.
Right.
And so one of the emphasis that we make on everything we do is that it has to be grounded in STEM.
Right.
And so I created a medical science academy where we can get kids in there who would otherwise not have that opportunity.
Right.
And my goal is to create an academy in Edgecombe County,
Sure.
where kids from all over the county can have this experience. Yes, there are STEM programs in the public school system, but if you look, you see how many kids are taking advantage of that.
Well, and why is that? And then how do we go about building that academy? And what can I do to help on that? Because at the end of the day, that is what matters, right? It is about, if we're going to really elevate ourselves, when we talk about building community,
Right.
it's got to start with education.
It's got to start with education. There's no question
And
about it.
nobody really wants to talk about it because that's not 2-year fix.
No,
That's a generational
It's a
fix.
generational fix. That's
So,
exactly right.
and it's
Yeah.
a perseverance. It's
Yeah.
not an event. It's a
Yes.
marathon. And so,
Exactly.
but let's talk about it because I
sure.
do believe that that's the fundamental basis, and that's where equity and equality can be created the easiest in terms of opportunity for folks.
Absolutely. Well, I think we have to start early with kids. We have to let them know that, hey, this is not a quick fix, and it's okay if you struggle.
Absolutely.
One of the toughest subject I had in college was physics, and I was in my early career.
I muddled through that myself, and muddled is the right word.
My early career was in radiology. I was an X-ray tech, and that was my first career. And it was like, wow, I have arrived. But when I thought I had arrived, I needed to do even more. But in that field, I was able to put together all that I studied in radiology to use it. Because you got to do your best at everything you do.
Sure.
In a way that when I went into the military, I taught school the entire time I was there. I was a medic. And
Right.
of course, I did go out on the field.
Sure.
But I didn't have to carry a weapon because I had something that the military needed.
That's right. Didn't want you carrying a weapon. That
Didn't
was
want
not your
me carrying
highest and best use
That's
at all.
exactly right.
To the
Exactly
organization as a whole.
Exactly. So helping kids to position themselves so that the employer or the person that's looking at them will say, I don't want you doing that job. This is what I want you to do because you bring value to this corporation. So by offering science, technology, engineering, and math courses within the community, above and beyond what the school system is doing, it adds value not only to the individual student, but to the whole community. And so, we're kicking it off. We started one in Pitt County. And
Okay, great.
We had real success the first year. And so I've spoken to the folks at the hospital, and they're excited about it.
Sure.
And this summer we will offer our science and medical academy in Edgecombe County.
Sure.
And,
And so what does that look like? I mean,
Okay.
you affiliated with like a community college, you affiliated with the hospital system, or all of the above? Or,
you asked all the right questions. I have to
well,
tell you,
I've spent a little bit of time in healthcare, so.
you asked all the right questions. So absolutely. So it all cannot be done by one entity. You have to involve Brody School of Medicine, the Vidant Hospital. You have to involve the community college, the university, the dental school. All of these pieces have to work together. And so what I did was, not bashful to ask them. And I said, look, I'm not asking for money. I need your time. I need your intellectual capital.
Which sometimes harder to give the money.
It is. You're right. So, so they were generous to say, okay, we'll help. And so they made all their facilities available to these kids. They spent time with them. They taught classes. They did experiments with them, and it was just fabulous. Awesome. Fabulous. The community college is one of the greatest resources that North Carolina has, and the whole country, really. It is a gift to our country. And they have so
And Edgecombe Community College, by the way, does an outstanding program, outstanding nursing program, allied science. I mean, so just got to put a little plug in because they've been a great neighbor here in Rocky Mountain.
Absolutely.
And of course, Nash County too, but we're talking primarily about Edgecombe County.
Certainly, absolutely. So, I've been over at Edgecombe County, met the new president, know a few other folks over there.
Dr. Cloud's a fine fellow.
He's a wonderful guy, and has a science background, so he's really interested in this. And so, I'm looking forward to working more closely with Edgecombe Community College, as well as with Vidant, work with, Vidant. Fortunately, I know the folks at the corporate level, so we get them to be involved, and they're excited about all this. So what I really, especially in Eastern North Carolina, is to have an academy in each county, so that these kids can benefit from having above and beyond what the school system is offering. That they have this experience during the summer that's rooted in STEM, During the school year, we do seminars on various STEM subjects and just keep the kids involved.
Right.
Make it fun, but keep them involved.
So how do I plug in if I'm a student? I mean,
Okay.
how do I get into the program? I mean, that sounds
Great
fascinating.
question. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this case, though, in Edgecombe County, there's something called Michael's Angels. And
Yeah,
say, hey,
well, there you go. That's a beautiful segue.
that's right. Saying, hey, yes. So I heard that you guys are having this science academy, and I'm interested. Now, we've already done a drone camp. We're getting ready to, and that drone camp, we had all girls in there.
Wow.
They had a ball, and they were fabulous. They were absolutely fabulous. They flew simulated planes. They learned how to program the drones. They learned how to fly them effectively. I mean, it was wonderful. Well, we have to repeat that so that more girls in Edgecombe County can have that experience. We have to repeat it so more boys in Edgecombe County can have that experience.
Sure.
So one of the things that Michael Angels has done is to broaden their reach so that they are including young boys, still keeping the girls focused on the girl stuff and the boys on the boys, but we have to work with them so they can grow up knowing how to work together and to support each other. You know as well as I that society has a lot of stressors, and
Sure does.
Domestic violence and other issues are prevalent in society. And so it's important that we work with these young kids early on so they understand how to solve that problem. So they understand that if you focus on something that's meaningful and that's important, that the chances of you having these other issues are minimized.
Right.
So we keep these kids busy. Their slogan is converting idleness to action. And so we keep the kids engaged in wholesome activities. But our focus is education, education, education.
So maybe we need to step back. You need to explain a little bit about Michael's Angels, kind of the mission, how it kind of got going.
Sure.
Because, I think that's important for folks to understand. And,
Absolutely.
And again, a worthwhile cause to support. It is about our children. It is about their success, which is our community.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So Michael's Angels was founded by Chanel Knight. I had to put a plug in for her.
There you go.
She's the founder of Michael's Angels, a wonderful young lady who started Michael's Angels after having lost a child herself and having experienced some difficulties in life. She recognized that, hey, I got to do something about this. I don't want kids in the community going to jail, going to prison, going to experiencing these bad things in society. So she started Michael's Angels to help kids get away from those things. And she has impacted Tallboro especially and the surrounding areas by embracing young girls to come in and experience all these wonderful things. I mean, Chanel and her staff work, and I'm one of her staff, by the way.
I understand. Yeah. One of those part-time jobs you have.
Yeah, one of those part-time jobs like that. So, but I'm a non-paid
I
staff.
understand. I was using the term loosely.
That's right. Okay. So she recognized, and I have to give her credit because I mean she does work day and night. I mean, nonprofit work is not just something nice to do. I mean, it's hard work. It is really hard work, and it's not the type of work where you show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, go home at 5. No, it's with you 24 hours a day. It is. And many nights, Chanel has taken kids home with her. They've lived with her until they got back on their feet. And, we have just expanded the program, as I mentioned, to include young boys. We go into the school system. We work with kids in the school who are having difficulty. Edgecombe County school system has been wonderful and inviting because, again, we add value to what the overall curriculum offers. And so we bring our programs there.
Again, Dr. Bridgers has done a fine job
She
with
has.
that
Yes.
system. You look at, the trends, if you will, over the last 5 to 10 years, and it's just a beautiful thing. And
It
so
is.
these types of programs just completely enrich everything for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you hit the right word, enrichment, because that's what it does for the school system, for the community, and for anyone who has an interest in what we're doing. So we're really proud of these young girls. They all are doing well in school.
Good.
They're not flunking in classes.
Right.
They attend school. They don't, lay out of school. They want to go to school.
Well,
And that's important.
it's kind of where we started. I think part of the conversation is that we're all guided by our perspective, and that is at some level influenced by the opportunities, and the lens is defined by things that we've seen, experiences that we have.
Exactly.
Because it's hard to know what I don't know.
Right.
And
That's
so,
right.
if nothing else, you're broadening
that.
the world for folks,
Exactly right.
and that's a beautiful thing.
Exactly right. And the other critical piece is that, you don't get into this, you got to have a heart to really focus on what the needs are in the community. Most communities have needs and have individuals who are low income, who are dealing with issues, et cetera. And it is the nonprofits who are stepping in the gap, helping these folks get to the resources they need, and just doing real things about it, whether it's tutoring, whether it's mentoring, counseling, helping parents get to the appropriate service in the county, or babysitting, or doing whatever is needed to help families sustain themselves.
Right.
And that's what Michael's Angels is about. It is a holistic approach to helping the community. With the children who are in our program, we also know who their parents are, and the parents are involved.
Well, you're building a
Yes.
community.
We're building community. That's
I
exactly
mean, that's
right.
really what that comes down to. It's all
exactly right.
relationship.
It's all relationship, and it's not about tooting our horns. It's about making a difference. It's about making a real difference in the community, and we can see it. And that's what keeps me volunteering.
Well, absolutely, it is. That's the return on
That's the
investment
return on
that you're seeing.
You
the
can
ROI.
see the difference. And when these young folks, they're doing well, and they want to show you what they're doing and explain to you what they're doing, and invite you to their programs in the school. I mean, that's the kind of thing that, that's priceless.
That's the stuff that makes
It's
life worth
priceless.
living, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And, the sad part is that with nonprofits, you have to constantly be on the raising money, to support it.
Sure you
I
do.
wish we didn't have to do that, but it's one of those things. But it's equally important for nonprofits to show the community what they're doing.
That's right.
Because, if you're going to donate to the nonprofit, you want to make sure your money is getting good use.
It's a little bit like taxes. Nobody likes to pay more taxes.
No.
Nobody likes to give money away.
That's right.
But if you can demonstrate for me that my increased taxes is improving, say, public safety, well, that's an easy check to write.
Right.
If you can show me that this not-for-profit is having this impact on people,
Right.
well, that's an easier check to write. But you're right, so much of it is just we don't communicate it as well as we
Right.
need to in terms of even what our needs are.
Right.
This is what we're doing. This is the return on it. So it kind of brings us to graduation rates,
Yeah,
So, that is a huge issue. And if you want to elevate a community and, again, create opportunity for everybody,
Right.
it's about increasing that high school graduation rate.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that we let our kids know. That is an expectation.
Right. Right.
That is an expectation, and working with the kids every day, looking at the report cards, talking to the teachers, talking to the parents. We know if they're going to make the grade. We know if they're going to stay in school to graduation. I mean, it's not rocket science. but it's a matter of staying in touch with those entities, and especially the parents.
Right.
And so we do. We know what the grades are. They can't come in and say, "Oh, I lost my report card." That's fine. We can see quickly, what the grades are.
Well, so our time here is coming to an end. So what have I failed to ask that I should have
Yeah.
that we need to communicate with our audience?
Yeah. Well, you did ask a wonderful question that I failed to take advantage of, and that is, you say, how can I help?
Yeah. Well, that's really it.
Yeah.
How can anybody help?
Yes.
You know, how do we tap into
So-
what you're doing, because it's a
Absolutely.
worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah, it is. And, again, while, yes, it does take money to operate nonprofits in any business, but some things don't cost money. I mean, for example, if there's a physician who is viewing this and can offer some intellectual capital, for example, oh, I want to do a lecture on radiology, anesthesiology, any subject. I mean, that's value.
Oh, yeah.
That's value that, in my view, you can't put a dollar on, because I mean, again, like I said, it's intellectual capital. It is also the other kind of capital as well.
Right.
But you can get a lot done when you can infuse intellectual capital in there. Because one of the worst things that a nonprofit can do is to have, and I say this with all due respect, to have individuals working with youth who are not qualified to work with them.
Right.
So, and I say that with all due respect.
No, I understand. Not everybody fits with the mission.
That's exactly
really
right.
what you're saying.
That's a great way to put it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have to respect that, and they have to respect that.
Sure.
And because it's not just something nice to do, nonprofit work is necessary. It is absolutely necessary, and you have to have a heart for it.
It's also a real commitment. So if I tell you
real
I'm going to do
commitment.
that,
Yes.
and kids are expecting, I need to deliver
right.
on that.
You
It's not
need-
just if it works well for me and the sun's and it's raining and
You got it.
can't be conditioned.
You got
it
it.
is all in.
Yeah, and that's why that very point is why nonprofits cannot be run wholly with just volunteers.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You must have paid staff so that you have that commitment
That's
in
right.
there.
That's
So,
right.
well, I mean, volunteers are important, don't get me wrong.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
But having a paid staff solidifies the mission of your organization.
So do you have a website that I can go to that I can learn more about it and plug into, or a phone number or something
sir.
along those lines?
Yes, so I would encourage anyone interested in Michael's Angels to simply Google it. Just put Michael's Angels in there. Everything you want to know about it will pop up.
Awesome.
Michael's Angels, okay? It'll pop up, and it'll even tell you how to donate money if you want to. But we're really excited about it, and we're doing some great things there, and looking forward to kicking off the academy this summer.
Awesome.
Certainly are. Yes, sir.
Well, again, count on us. Tell me
Yes.
what I can do to help you.
I will.
I appreciate you coming here and
Thank you
sharing.
so much. I
And I
appreciate
think
it.
this is important for our community. Thank you for all you do
Thank
in
you,
that
sir.
endeavor.
Thank you,
And
sir.
Miss Knight.
Thank you.
All right.